free-form flow of consciousness videos. It's like morning pages, except I post them on the internet and people get to judge me. That's the big distinction there. Oh. Testing, does that work? PKM is everywhere. Personal knowledge management is like, so this is me trying to figure out what personal knowledge management system works for what and where I want to place them. To preface this, I am supposed to be packing right now. I'm leaving for Tennessee tomorrow. Just vacation, hang out, fun times. But I've been up here like per normal, and I have been in the last couple days trying to sort through some different personal knowledge management systems and techniques and like analog, digital. So this started with this thing here, the bullet journal. This is my life is in this. I have a video about this that I put up pretty recently, and the bullet journal is like my central hub of everything. This is tasks for the day, thoughts, and then I have the bullet journal pocket. This stays with me every day, all day, at work, if I'm out and about, and I don't want to carry this thing around. So that's not going anywhere. But what also came with that was I read the Bullet Journal Method book and really liked that, and then started trying to better other spots of my life. And so then the next book that I got brought to was Building a Second Brain by Tiago Forte. This book is awesome. Love this book as well. You can see that I just freaking took way too many notes in it. And so that was kind of, I think I found that because of like a YouTube video with Ryder Carroll from Bullet Journal talking to Tiago Forte from Building a Second Brain. And so it was kind of like this gradual step of trying to figure out organization methods and such. So basically the bullet journal sparked my 2025 just run to fix my brain, organize better and start doing more. And the goal was to do a lot more YouTube. That hasn't been the ultimate outcome so far, but a lot of other things have needed organized. So I read this, and then after that, then I got Tiago Forte's second book, The Para Method. That is a good one as well. I have since strayed away from his Para Method. However, the Building a Second Brain book is still really good. He touches on Para in this, but that's not like the ultimate idea for it. The ultimate idea for building a second brain is building a second brain to collect everything. So then from that, and this has other books mixed in, but just the knowledge management ones, then I jumped into how to take smart notes. Now, I did not know what this book was gonna do to me. This book, I understood like what the general idea of Zettelkasten was. I think this book confused me more than it helped. This book is really good. There's a lot of good stuff in it. I am not going to sit here and talk about how bad it is, but it does, it's a good example of what can go wrong if people just try to write with their Zettelkasten. Like the Zettelkasten is the writer versus just using it as an idea collection, if you will. But this opened up a mental need or a mental want for me to collect notes, collect knowledge, and start linking things together. I had already been using Obsidian in like the second brain method, which I just don't think that's the best program for a second brain. If you're doing it in the Para method, we can dive into that later. But this book, after I read that, then I read A System for Writing. This is by a guy named Bob Dotto. If you want to use the Zettelkasten system or anything like it, this is the book. This guy, genius, super smart guy. Really, really smart and also good at getting the system across. If you read this, you are not going to learn how to use the system, but you're gonna learn kind of what it can do. This is gonna teach you how to use Zettelkasten step for step, and he kind of breaks down a few of the things that book makes confusing. Anyway, beside the point, with all of those books to the side, this is a whole other system. The idea of physical Zettelkasten with actual note cards, like a actual note card, I like the idea of. I really like it, especially because I'm a big like physical journaler. Every day I use that for bullet journaling and a lot of other entries. I also do morning pages a lot, not every day. I have a couple of these commonplace books. I do a lot of physical writing, basically. I like the idea of a physical Zettelkasten, but I think that it would be just so much harder to do versus something like Obsidian. Obsidian's awesome. Diving into this, the reason I actually have all the note cards, I found a system through a YouTube guy who found the system, Tangible Thinking OS. Basically, the whole point is, from what I can grasp, this one is even more confusing, but using physical note cards as like kind of like a morning pages thing, where it's like in the morning you just like put all your thoughts onto note cards. The guy who designed it is a designer, like art designer, and so he does a lot of drawing on them. I do less design work, more so like knowledge management or trying to figure out thinking problems, knowledge work. And so this is just a lot of words, but with this I started trying to work out knowledge systems. I feel like I've been going really fast. Anyway, so the Zettelkasten system and also the second brain system then introduced me through YouTube or whatever to Linking Your Thinking by Nick Milo. Nick Milo took kind of the second brain idea and the Zettelkasten idea and also an idea called Evergreen Notes and made his own little knowledge system that's really just Obsidian, a link-based system for knowledge management and curating knowledge with a little bit of structure and some cool stuff built into like how he does it, but it's really just managing knowledge. Now he got that from a lot of inspiration from Evergreen Notes, and that is from a guy named Andy Matuskak. His name's Andy. Andy designed Evergreen Notes, and it's really not like an in-depth design. It's kind of just, Evergreen Notes are notes that are like an atomic idea per note, and then they are heavily linked and heavily backlinked, and they evolve, and it's really just like a no folder system. So it's like very anti the para method, and that's kind of like how I've ended up moving towards, because I'll tell you what, even before all this, I was just like never could figure out my folder structure. It was always a mess, and I do use a version that I kind of created of the para method for digital files. So the files system in my computer and like my phone, my iCloud, that is para, and then like my Google Drive uses a para knockoff. I kind of created my own, but it's similar. So that's where I think that's useful. Now, knowledge management or note management systems, not useful in my honest opinion. So here I've been trying to figure out, like this note, what makes, so there's mind garden is another term that's been coined online, and I think that all of these could like fall under mind garden, but I have been really losing it over this. Mind garden would just be like a space, usually digital, you could do physical, where you are curating thoughts very carefully as like seeds, and then they grow into things with linking and connecting to other ideas. So what makes a mind garden different from a Zettelkasten or an Ideaverse? It was this note. And so I started rolling through Evergreen Notes, lots of links, seemingly no exact structure. Linking Your Thinking, which is the Ideaverse, takes a lot of inspiration from Evergreen Notes, and there's like a little bit more of a structure, but it mixes like atomic notes with bigger, longer notes, and it doesn't have to really be just links, which the Evergreen Notes is mostly linking for organization, whereas Linking Your Thinking has a heavy usage of maps of content, which is like a page with all the links to certain notes to organize topics, which is kind of like indexes or structure notes in a Zettelkasten, and I digress. All that aside, I think I'm figuring out how I want to go about this. So the Tangible Thinking OS, I so far love. I like writing things physically, but I think the Tangible Thinking OS, from what I can tell, is going to be more of an idea curation. It's kind of like I said, morning pages, getting ideas out in the moment and getting creativity flowing. So the morning pages are more like the gunk in your brain getting out. Tangible Thinking is more of the creativity, but it's like a thing to physically have in front of you, and then like I had these, once you have a lot of different thoughts, let them fester for a day or two, then you can kind of like organize your thoughts and put them in stacks and figure out where links are connected. I think this is really good for figuring stuff out initially, for like projects and ideas and creative endeavors. I don't think that takes it farther than that. And I think that's where, you know, that's going to be used if I want to try to create a video or a Blender project and I need to just get ideas out. So I think I'm going to continue using that. The bullet journal, not going anywhere. That is like my life operating system. But I think I'm going to take my Obsidian Ideaverse, which I got from the free one that Nick Milo offers. A little bit modified, but mostly the same. I think I'm going to copy it over just for my sanity and making sure I don't screw anything up. And I'm going to delete a lot of the random connective notes in there. There's a lot in it, and I think I'm going to delete most of the folder structure. I'm just going to go into it with like just notes, just straight notes. And that's going to be like my just free flowing idea curation. Now for Zettelkasten. This is something that I just have not been able to let go of because I want it to work so badly. Lately, it's one of those things that when you only have a few notes, it's very not exciting because there's not a lot of links, there's not a lot of curation, but once you like really get a lot of content into a Zettelkasten is where things just start to explode, and both of these books say it. Until you get like a lot of content inside of it, it's not really doing what it's supposed to. But once you get a ton of different strands of thinking to where whenever you have a new thought, it's got a million things to connect to, that's where that system really shines. And so I think I'm going to use the linking your thinking or evergreen notes idea just for most of my creative trying to figure out, you know, thoughts in my mind and getting things fully fleshed out. And then I'm going to try to pull from that whenever there is something important, like little atomic ideas that are very specific and that are fully mine, that will get moved over to Zettelkasten. Then do I put them both in the same Obsidian vault? I don't think I can. I think that would mess things. What's the story? The story here is there's a lot of systems. If you are also like just stuck in like paralyzed by all these systems, do what I'm gonna do. Open up your note system of choice, mine of being Obsidian, and don't touch a thing. Just start typing your thoughts away. Even like in the daily notes, awesome. Just do that, and if you don't do anything but the daily note for a couple days, that's fine. But whenever there's an idea that gets written out or structured that you're like, that might have a seed somewhere for another more larger topic, then take that. So if I'm writing my daily note and mention Zettelkasten and evergreen notes, then make those their own separate pages, link to those, and then start describing those things. And then in the description you'll find another just like idea or thought in there that can then become another note. And there's a lot. There was not a lot that this video goes into. I think I figured out my folder structure basically, or my operating system, and it's a lot. I read a lot of books and I have so many notes on them and I have not done anything with them, and it's because of this. It's because I hadn't figured it out. So I think I'm just gonna dive in and stop trying to figure it out. Maybe that's the moral of this video, the story, if you will. Just dive in. Don't try to figure it out. Also, sorry for looking like a Sith Lord this whole time. This entire half of my face just not even lit. Maybe it's a cool shot. Hopefully you got something out of this. Free form flow of consciousness videos. It's like morning pages, except I post them on the internet and people get to judge me. That's the big distinction there. Hope you guys have a good day. I will see you soon. In the next one maybe. Let me know what systems you use down below. Help me out.